Hi, my name is Mr. Ellison, and today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Pythagorean Theorem. Now, Pythagorean Theorem is a geometry concept that helps us find the sides of a special triangle called a right triangle. It helps us find one side of the triangle given the measurements of the other two sides. Now, today, for the simplicity, what we're going to do is we're going to find the length of one of the sides, okay? Now, first I want to go into the geometry of a right triangle, okay? Now, a right triangle is a triangle whose largest angle is 90 degrees. Now, these two 90 degrees meet together at with an altitude, and they also have a base side. Now, the third side is a special side, which is diagonal or slanted, and it's called the hypotenuse. Now, the hypotenuse in a right triangle is the largest side of a triangle. Now, since we know that we can only use the Pythagorean theorem for finding the sides of right triangles, let's look at this triangle. This triangle has three sides. And what we're going to do is we're going to attach letters to these sides so that we can work with them and we can identify the sides as we go along. Now let's look at this side that goes up and down. It forms an altitude. In geometry, this would be an altitude on a triangle. So this is the A side of the triangle, or I like to call it the altitude side. Now, and it is a leg of the right triangle. This side right here that goes horizontally along the right triangle is called the B side, or the base side of the triangle. It too is a leg of the triangle, the right triangle. And then we have this special hypotenuse side, the longest side of the right triangle, and we denote it with the letter C. Now there's a special formula we use in order to find the sides of a right triangle using the Pythagorean theorem. And it is called the Pythagorean theorem equation. And it is written a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, for the simplicity of learning this concept, I want to take this triangle and I want to use an example to illustrate the use of Pythagorean theorem. Now, let's find the most basic perfect squared triangle that we can think of, okay? Now, the most basic triangle that has perfect squares is called a 3, 4, 5 triangle. And now I will illustrate that. Now let's just say we have our altitude, and our altitude is equal to 3 feet, okay? Our altitude is 3 feet. Now let's just say our base side, we're going to say that the base side is 4 feet, okay? Now, we're going to try to find the hypotenuse side, okay? Now, the hypotenuse side is not given, so what we're going to do is we're going to denote the C side with a question mark. We're going to do a little bit of math detective work to find it. Now, we're going to use our trusty formula, the Pythagorean theorem formula, and we're going to find the side C. Now, we already know that it's a squared side plus the b squared side will give us the c squared, okay? And then in the end, when we find the answer, we're going to square root the answer to find the actual length of the side that we're missing. So let's get started. Now we know that our side A is 3. So we're going to substitute in the equation a 3 for A. And we're going to square that number. So it's 3 squared, and then plus, now our base side, it says, is 4 feet long. So instead of having b squared, we're going to replace or substitute the b with a 4. And we're going to square that number. And the sums of these two numbers squared is going to equal our hypotenuse, okay? Or c squared. Now, let's do our algebra and our multiplication to solve this problem. Now, what is 3 squared? It is 9. 3 times 3, or 3 times itself, gives us 9. So 9 plus, now 4 squared means it's 4 times itself, which is 4 times 4, and that gives us 16. So 9 plus 16 is going to give us, when we add the sums of these squares, it's going to give us our c squared. So 9 plus 16 gives us 25. That's right. 25. Now, like I said at the beginning, we're going to find the answer, and we're going to find, it says c squared equals 25, but we don't want to keep it at 25. That's kind of long for the sides of a very short-sided triangle. So like I said, what we're going to do is we're going to take this number and we're going to find the square root of this number. We're going to find two numbers exactly the same that multiply by each other to give us 25. We're going to square root here, and like any equation, what we do on one side, we have to do it on the other. So we're going to square root this c squared, okay? Now, this square root box here, it cancels out the squared part of the c, okay? So we're just left with c. Now, we have two numbers that multiply by each other to give us 25. So c equals 5. Okay? Now, so we know that our side c is going to be 5 feet. Now, I've got a way that we're going to prove that 3 feet and a 3-foot leg and a 4-foot leg, when we find the sums of those sides, is going to equal a 5-foot leg. Okay? So we're going to take our squares. It said 3 squared. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our altitude side, and that's 3 squared, which gives us 9, correct? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 squares. Now, we're going to take our other side, which is 4 feet, and we're going to do 4 squared, which will give us 16. So our 4 squared right here, it gives us 16. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now the sum of this plus 9 gives us 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So there are 25 squares amongst the two legs. Now this should equal the number of squares if we square this side, the number of squares in the square of our hypotenuse. So let's try, shall we? What is 5 times 5? It is 25. So 5 squared. And we're going to take our square. We're going to put it right here, just like so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times 5 gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Now we have our 9 squares here that match this. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 squares here. And we have 16 squares here. So 25 equals 25. So we have just proven that a 3, 4, 5 triangle is a perfect square triangle, and that the Pythagorean theorem does indeed work for right triangles. Thank you so much for coming in today and watching my discussion and my demonstration of the Pythagorean theorem. I look forward to seeing you next time when we discuss the next math concept. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye.